ChatGPT relate ACIM to the movie Stranger Than Fiction. Stranger Than Fiction through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACIM. Stranger Than Fiction may be one of the most profound metaphysical movies ever made. Through the lens of ACIM becomes a remarkable exploration of authorship, identity, destiny, surrender, and awakening from the script the ego has written. At the beginning of the film, Harold Crick lives entirely within routines, rules, schedules, and predictable patterns. His life is mechanical, repetitive, and carefully controlled. Then one day, he begins hearing a narrator describing his life. Suddenly, a disturbing possibility emerges. What if I am not the author of the story I think I am living? This question lies at the heart of the film and resonates deeply with him. The ego's script. Harold believes he is living his own life, making his own choices, following his own plans. Yet the narrator reveals that his life appears to be following a script he did not consciously write. ACIM makes a similar observation. The ego operates from unconscious beliefs, habits, fears, judgments, and expectations that seem automatic. Most people assume, this is just who I am. But the Course invites a deeper inquiry. Who wrote the script you call your identity? The ego's self-concept is largely inherited, conditioned, and defended rather than consciously chosen. Like Harold, we often discover we have been following a story without questioning its author. The voice in the mind. The narrator is one of the film's most powerful symbols. Throughout the movie, Harold hears a voice commenting on everything he does. For many viewers, this resembles the internal narration constantly running in the mind. The ego never stops commenting. It evaluates, it predicts, it judges, it analyzes, it tells stories about everything. It teaches that there are two voices available in the mind. The ego, the Holy Spirit. The spiritual journey involves learning which voice is speaking and which voice we choose to follow. Harold's awakening begins when he realizes the narration is not necessarily his true identity. The fear of death. When Harold learns that his story appears to be moving toward his death, fear takes over. The ego's greatest concern is survival. Every ego strategy ultimately revolves around preserving the self-concept. ACIM teaches that fear of death arises from identification with the body and the personal self. The ego believes, if the character ends, I end. The Holy Spirit gently teaches, you are not the character. The movie continually asks, what if the story ends, but what you truly are remains untouched? The collapse of control. Harold spends much of the film trying to escape the narrative. He wants control. He wants certainty. He wants guarantees. This mirrors the ego's constant attempt to control outcomes. Yet the more Harold fights the story, the more anxious he becomes. As he gradually accepts uncertainty, something unexpected happens. He starts truly living. He begins enjoying life. He takes risks. He falls in love. He becomes present. In AM, surrender is not defeat. It is the release of the need to control the dream, living instead of managing. One of the film's most beautiful transformations occurs when Harold stops merely managing his life and begins experiencing it. He plays music. He connects with others. He opens his heart. He appreciates simple moments. This reflects the miracle-minded shift described in ACIM. The ego is obsessed with maintaining the story. Spirit invites us into the experience of the present moment. Life becomes richer when the mind stops trying to control every chapter. The author. The author in the movie symbolizes a fascinating spiritual question. Who is actually writing the story? The ego believes it authors its own existence. ACIM teaches that the ego's stories are inventions of the sleeping mind. The Holy Spirit offers reinterpretation rather than authorship of new illusions. The awakening process involves relinquishing attachment to the false story and allowing a different purpose to emerge. Harold's journey reflects this shift beautifully. He stops trying to dictate every detail and becomes willing to participate in something larger than himself. Acceptance and grace. Near the end of the movie, Harold reaches a profound state of acceptance. He no longer lives from fear. He no longer defines himself by survival. He becomes willing to embrace what comes. Paradoxically, it is through this surrender that grace enters the story. ACIM repeatedly teaches that miracles arise when defenses are laid aside. The ego fights, spirit trusts, the ego resists, spirit allows, the ego clings, spirit releases. The central reflection. The ego watches Stranger Than Fiction and asks, how do I stay in control of my story? The Holy Spirit watches Stranger Than Fiction and asks, what if I am not the story at all? Viewed through ACIM, the movie becomes a meditation on awakening from identification with the character we think we are. Harold's liberation begins when he stops defending the script and starts questioning the one who appears within it. The deepest message may be, you are not the character, the narrative, the personality, or the storyline. You are the awareness that witnesses the entire story. When attachment to the script softens, life becomes less about surviving the plot and more about remembering the author beyond the dream. Go to mwge.org to find full movie and commentary by David Hoffmeister.